in your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station
from beautiful Saline in southeastern Michigan.
Around the world at sunskyMysteries.com.
This is the 2009 Top 10 Webcam in the World winner. This is SETV.
This message is transmitted at the request of the United States Office of Civil Defense. At 3:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, NORAD detected a long-range nuclear missile launch in North Korea. This missile is believed to be headed in the direction of the Los Angeles metropolitan area. It is believed that it will impact this area within the next 1.5 to 2 hours. All residents within a 400-mile radius of this area should seek a fallout shelter immediately.
The only real effect I can have is to create the impression that things aren't as bad as they are. To give our people time, the opportunity to survive.
I guess I just never realized I'd gone so far. We had lost so much control.
Totalitarianism doesn't need armies. It only needs to control a couple of things. The media and the ability to dispense privilege to some and withhold it from others. But of course, a weak and divided people helps.
Well, good evening, everybody. Bill Zam here. Today is August 7th, 2012. Yes, I had to check my calendar to make sure that I had not lost yet another day. Welcome to my attempt to see whether that super secret heart attack gun actually exists. Now, some people might say that what we do here amounts to nothing more than pulling on Superman's cape. And for the fools that believe that, I say to them this: get your head up out of your butt before I come to where you are and slap you silly. Because, you see, the people that are doing these nefarious and dastardly deeds are the people that work for the government. They are the people that are our employees. So we are not tugging on Superman's cape. They are tugging on ours. Now, my job is to wake people up. And that amounts to doing whatever it takes to wake people up. One person at a time. And if I wake up more than one person at a time, that's great too. I apparently will have succeeded at that point as well. We need to wake people up as to what is going on this planet and the people that are trying to burn this civilization right down to the freaking ground. And they're all running around like a bunch of dizzy, one-legged men in a one-person ass-kicking contest. And our job is to expose those things. Now, as far as the show schedule goes, we are, I am attempting to do as many shows as possible. But because of scheduling difficulties, time, and whatnot, it looks like I'm going to probably do shows Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and possibly Saturday nights. We will do them live at SalineETV.com. That's SalineETV.com. Stop on by and watch the show live. We are also putting together a informational video about how to sign up for our secure 256-bit chat server. You will need a piece of software to do it, but we are putting together the instructions so we can chat with as many of our show fans as possible. Now, our first story tonight is extremely interesting because it comes from a classmate of somebody who happens to be very important. This fellow's name is, let me see, Wayne Allen Root. And hold on a second. There we go. Wayne Allen Root, who, of course, spells his middle name, Allen, very oddly. Let's go back to the show notes so you can see what he has to say a little bit better, and then we'll switch back to the full screen. Obama's college classmate says the Obama scandal is at Columbia. This is Wayne Allen Root, Columbia graduate, 1983. I am President Obama's classmate at Columbia University, class of 83. I'm also one of the most accurate Las Vegas odds makers and prognosticators. Accurate enough that I was awarded my own star on the Las Vegas Walk of Stars. You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if that guy can put any odds on how soon they come after me with the heart attack gun to put me out of my misery. And I smell something rotten in Denmark. Obama has a big skeleton in his closet. It's his college records. Call it a gut instinct, but my gut is almost always right. Obama has a secret hidden at Columbia, and it's a bad one that threatens to bring down his presidency. Gut instinct is how I've made my living for 29 years, since graduating Columbia in 1983. Now, we have, over the years, since I think it first came up in 2009, we've already seen this. We've already seen that, first of all, nobody remembers Obama in the classes. Second of all, nobody remembers Obama on the campus, even though there's photographs of him apparently sitting around somewhere. So this guy, Wayne Allen Root, has written this piece. It was on the Drudge Report. It was on The Blaze, as well as other places. I have never heard of the guy, but I have read some of his pieces over the past couple of days, and I must say, he is yet another candidate for the heart attack gun. Let's go back to the article. Obama and his infamous strategist, David Axelrod, understand how to play political handball. The best it's ever been played. These guys, is my personal note here, these guys are world class at playing the political hardball Chicago-style game. Team Obama has decided to distract America's voters by condemning Mitt Romney for not releasing enough years of his tax returns. It's the perfect cover. Obama knows the best defense is a bold offense. Just keep attacking Mitt and blaming him for secrecy and evasion while accusing him of having a scandal that doesn't exist. Then ask your lapdog Senator Harry Reid, God, I hate that guy, to chase the Frisbee. Yeah, let me read that again. That's pretty funny. That's the first time I read that line. Then ask your lapdog Senator Harry Reid to chase the Frisbee. The U.S. Senate Majority Leader is now making up stories out of thin air about tax returns he knows nothing about. It's a cynical, brilliant, and vicious strategy. Make Romney defend so he can't attack the real Obama scandal. Now, let me say something about this. Harry Reid comes out and says, I got a phone call from some guy that says he knew Romney over at Bain, and he's one of the investors over there, and Romney never paid taxes for 10 years. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a Class A felony in the United States of America, because the person that called Harry Reid, he committed a felony. And by Harry Reid passing it along to the public, willy-nilly, I might add, has also broken the law. So here's what I want to know. Is the Justice Department, the DOJ, investigating Senator Reid and this so-called former whistleblower investor over at Bain Capital. Probably not, since the entire damn thing is made up, because Harry Reid is insane. But why are the college records of a 51-year-old president of the United States of America so important to keep secret? I think I know the answer. And to read the rest of the story, let's go over to Mr. Root's website. And let me see here. His website address is rootforamerica.com. That is rootforamerica.com. So let's take a look at the rest of this article. There is Mr. Root right there. He's a rather happy-looking gentleman. He looks like he could be a politician, that's for sure. There's Mr. Root right there on the screen. Okay, so now we put a picture to the guy that's written this article. So let's get Obama and his infamous strategist. Okay, lapdog. Okay. It's time to call Obama's bluff. What Mitt Romney should do is call a press conference and issue a challenge in front of the nation. He should agree to release more of his tax returns only if Obama unseals his college records. And here's a bit of advice for the president and his team. This time, when you use Photoshop, make sure you lock the layers. Bunch of idiots. I seem to be surrounded by them. Mitt should ask, what could possibly be so embarrassing in your college records from 29 years ago that you are afraid to let America's voters see it? If it's that bad, maybe it's something the voters ought to see. Suddenly, the tables are turned. Now Obama is on the defensive. And let me give you a piece of advice. It's never good to corner the insane. My bet is that Obama will never unseal his records. Never, ever, ever. Because they contain information that could destroy his chances for re-election. Once this challenge is made public, my prediction is you'll never hear about Mitt's tax returns again. End of story. But why are the college records of a 51-year-old president so important to keep secret? I think I know the answer. If anyone should have questions about Obama's record at Columbia University, it's me. We both graduated, according to Obama, Columbia University, class of 1983. We were both, according to Obama, pre-law and political science majors. And I thought I knew most everyone at Columbia. I certainly thought I'd heard of all my fellow political science majors. Remember, back in 1983, this political science thing, now it wasn't that popular, even at some half-witted university like Columbia. But not Obama, or as he was known back then, Barry Sorrento. I never met him, never saw him, never even heard of him. And none of the classmates that I knew at Columbia has ever met him, saw him, or heard of him. Which is interesting because it seems that Mr. Root has had contact with his classmates. But don't take my word for it. The Wall Street Journal reported in 2008 that Fox News randomly called 400 of our Columbia classmates. 400 of our Columbia classmates, probably from way back in 1983, and never found one who had ever met Barack Hussein Obama. Now, all of this mystery could easily and instantly be dismissed if Obama released his Columbia transcripts to the media. But even after serving president 3.5 years, he refuses to unseal his college records. Shouldn't the media be as relentless in the pursuit of Obama's records as Romney's? Shouldn't they be digging for Obama's dirt with the same boundless enthusiasm as Mitt's? The first question I'd ask, this is Mr. Root talking, not me. The first question I'd ask is, if you had great grades, why would you seal your records? So let's assume Obama got poor grades. Why not release the records? He's president of a free world, for gosh sakes. He's commander-in-chief of the United States military. Who'd care about some poor grades from 3 decades ago, right? So what's the problem? Doesn't that make the media suspicious? Something doesn't add up. And this goes on and on. Let me hold on a second here. Well, hold on one moment while we go back over here. We're going to go back over here. We're going to click this, and we are going to go right here to the site and see how close up I can get this for you. And scroll right on back down here. There we go. How did a poor kid pay for all of these fancy schools? If he had student loans or scholarships, don't American students need good grades to maintain student loans? I can only think of one answer that would explain this mystery, so here's my gut. I believe Obama got a leg up in being admitted to both Occidental and Columbia as a foreign exchange student. There we go. I said it out loud. I actually quoted Mr. Wayne Allen Root at rootforamerica.com. We'll see where this goes. Probably nowhere. And this guy's got some great pieces on here. Let's see. The next one is Obama and our government have hurt me, not helped me. Another one is Obama, the great jobs killer. You can probably tell where his political ideology lies. Okay, so let's go back over to our show notes for something that I consider to be very interesting and may actually get that heart attack gun pointed at me a little bit more closely. This comes from a discussion website that I am not going to name because I am a member there. I don't have permission to name it, and I am just presenting this information that I found there as is, with very little commentary on my own. This particular post at this discussion area, and those of you that are members of the discussion area are going to recognize this, so my apologies. You can, I don't know, we'll find a way to get a link up to this discussion area if there's enough call for it. So the other day, this is the poster, the person that posted this, writing this. So the other day I was driving on a road about 2 blocks from my house. I look up and I notice something catching the sunlight, but very small and very difficult to see. I stop my car, get out, and take a closer look, and the only thing I can compare it to would be a length of fishing line, because it catches the sunlight in a spot in the middle of the line. So I started following it, and then it extends off into a thickly wooded area over the roof of a house and beyond what I could see. At least went on for a few hundred feet before I couldn't see it anymore. Very difficult to see. It's very thin and taut. So fast forward to yesterday, I'm out in my backyard and a glimmer catches my eye. I take a closer look and lo and behold, this line goes directly over my roof, as well as it stretches out over my neighbor's backyard into another thickly wooded area. So I took some photographs. It's approximately 50 feet or so above the ground. From where I can see it, on one end, it stretches at least 1,000 feet beyond, but goes into private property. This is all residential township type area, no businesses or anything like that. And he asked the questions. Any ideas what the hell this thing is? The first picture is what it looks like from the ground. The second and third photos are zoomed in about 30 times so you can see it better. The light allowing me to photograph this thing is from the sun. My hands were shaking a little bit in one of the pics, giving it the appearance of being more than one string, but it's not. And here are the photographs of this string. The first time I looked at it, I said, you know what, that's a contrail from a plane. But apparently I wasn't reading this person's writing close enough. So there you go. You can see it right there on the screen, right about there. Let me see here. You can see it right about there. Let me see if I can zoom in on it a little bit better. Okay, there you go. Now you can see it better. That's the string. And here's another view of this string right here. And the last photograph, here's another view of the string right there. So, let's fast forward to earlier this week, even today. This is not the only person asking about this. What it came down to is the original person that asked about this said that first, it is very, very tight. The wind does not move it. It is stretched tight. Second, came another post from an anonymous person that said, do not touch this line. And it was presented in such a way within the stream of the discussion area that sounded serious. So, after that thread, there is another one talking about the exact same thing. And get this, we find after she posted this that the person above that took these photos lives in the same area of the country, northeastern Ohio. And here is what she says. Last night, me and my husband were sitting outside. It was cloudy with lots of lightning. Anyway, he noticed it first. You can see a light reflection off of what looked like a spider web or fishing line. Anyway, this line stretched above the tree in front of my house, past my house, and then I lost sight of where it led. So this morning when I woke up, I went outside, looked up to see if I could see it, and yes, it is still there. But again, I can't see where it leads. I was just wondering if anyone else has seen something like this before. I have no idea how long it has been there. I can't get a picture of it because you can barely see it. I only know where to look because of seeing it last night. Reminds me of the line cameras that are used at a football game. But the story takes a twist at this point. Actually, I'm going to start looking above our place and see if I see any mysterious lines. And these things are so thin, they're like monofilament fishing lines. Now, there was some discussion that this could possibly be a fiber optic video line because, and I don't have the link for it, I'm sorry, and it's all technical mumble jumbo anyways, but apparently this type of line is used for very long distance surveillance camera transmission. And now who would string a line like this up in the air above people's houses so tight that you can't that it doesn't even sway with the wind? Who would do something like this and have the technology, the technical wherewithal to actually string this up without people knowing about it? Who could possibly do something like that? Let's take a look at the rest of this particular story. One might think that was the end of it. Well, the first guy comes on this newer discussion thread, and he says that they pulled it down. Aside from the warning that they got, they pulled it down. We are both pretty big guys, and it took both of us to pull it down. It was tight as hell. To break it, my friend tucked the line under his arm and ran full speed about 20 feet, and it finally snapped. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, from experience that I have, that ain't no fishing line. Maybe it was shark line or something like that, but apparently it's some type of a fiber optic cable. So, let's read on here. And then, after they cut it down, he says, the friend I had over here to help me take that line down was joking around about being pulled over by a government vehicle after he leaves my house. Right down the street, maybe a mile, an unmarked vehicle, and this would be a gray Crown Victoria with blacked out windows, and I happen to know who those guys are. An unmarked vehicle pulls up on my friend's ass and rides him for about 10 seconds, flips on his interior red and blue flashing lights. To make a stop, my friend pulls over to the side of the road. The car sat there for a minute and then lays rubber and flies around the car and takes off. As I said, I know who this group is simply because I have some experience with them when I worked at a company in Ann Arbor, Michigan. They had themselves it was an industrial complex. I'm not going to name the company that I work for because I don't want these guys looking through these companies' records coming to my house, because when I worked there, I lived here. My wife worked there, too, as a matter of fact. Well, they had this one suite next door to the building that we were in. And I was the only person in the company working afternoons, so I got to see a lot of the activity. These guys and women, they'd come in with duffel bags and whatnot through the front door. All sharp-looking people, thin, most of them in their 20s, probably, maybe early 30s, nice, clean cut and everything. They'd come in, and typically they'd stay there 2-3 days. And in the back, where the receiving area is for the businesses, they had a big garage door. Garage door's open. They got 5-6 cars in there, all of them Crown Victorias, all of them with completely blacked out windows, government plates on them, with the interior red and blue flashing lights. And in there they got, target dummies, targets, and things like that. Obviously some type of a law enforcement sort of a thing. Sometimes I still see them flying down the road. They usually go out 3, 4, 5 cars at a time. Very interesting, but I have seen this particular type of vehicle before. It is very specific to certain government agencies. Now, let's get back to our stories. Now, this particular story, let me see here. Okay. This particular story that I'm going to relate to you next is, this is a head scratcher. Okay. Now, if you watch the show live, and this particular episode that I'm talking about here did not make it up onto YouTube, I am careful about what I put up on YouTube, just simply because I don't want to remove the spotlight from the people that I talk about that should be in the spotlight. And I'm not going to take all the time to edit the videos. I don't got time for that kind of crap. So if you want to see the show, or listen to it actually, you can hop on over to one of the websites. At any rate, remember last week, a couple weeks ago maybe, the big brouhaha from Mike Harris and John Moore about the supposed secret briefings for continuity of government families and how to be ready to evacuate sometime in the near future from both the East and West Coasts. Apparently, some part of the Planet X system is inbound and will pass close by to us, wreaking havoc on the Earth. Well, over the past few days, I have learned from a confidential source that, number one, there hasn't been any evacuation orders given. Number two, and I covered this the other night. Maybe I'll go ahead and put the full episode up on YouTube. It's the episode from August 2nd is when I covered it. There has been a further development in this. Last year, actually before last year, you remember the Japanese earthquake and tsunami that hit Japan, the thing that started the entire Fukushima disaster that is threatening to kill every man, woman, and child and living thing on planet Earth, as the fuel rods that are just sitting out in the open apparently are melting their way down to the core of the Earth and going to cause the Earth to explode like a great big firecracker or something like that, depending on who you talk to. Well, there was a guy that predicted the Japanese earthquake precisely. His name is Mitchell Coombs. C-O-O-M-B-E-S. Mitchell Coombs. You can do a search on Google for him. Apparently, he predicted the earthquake, and he hasn't really done any predictive work since then. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you his latest prognostication. The guy that predicted the earthquake, the Japanese earthquake, Mitchell Coombs, he's back, and this is what is being written about him. So, okay, we may all remember the guy who apparently predicted the Japanese earthquake and tsunami, Mitchell Coombs. The story is that he posted a 104-hour countdown to the earthquake and got it 100% correct. Different thoughts and ideas that circulate as to whether or not this was a legitimate prediction or not. Of course, Nobody accepts things at face value, nor should they. Nonetheless, he has just posted his first real prediction since the Japanese earthquake and tsunami. And if he is correct, we are in for a massive global incident very shortly. Here is what he posted about 45 minutes ago, and this is like 3 hours ago. So he posted it around 3 o'clock Eastern today. That would be August 7th, 2012. This is what he posted on his Facebook page. And don't start deriding Facebook, okay, because we have another story about that, and if you're smart, you're going to get your happy ass on Facebook as quickly as you can. Okay, everybody, I've been warned of what's to come. We are getting extremely close, okay, mark those words, extremely close to the 104-hour tsunami warning. I strongly advise that you live on the east coast of north, south, west, and west, that would be Australia, and the west coast of the United States. Have your evacuation gear ready to go as soon as possible. I said on March 11th that California would be next after Japan's countdown. Sydney's earthquake will be a magnitude 9.5. California's earthquake will be a magnitude 9.6, followed by two 9.4s. All of these tsunamis will be created in the exact same hour. Will he be correct? I certainly hope not. When he was asked how far inland these tsunamis would reach and when exactly he will give his 104-hour countdown, he replied, in days, and it will reach up to 70 miles inland. He is describing an unprecedented event that would pretty much change the face of the planet. If correct, nothing to be taken lightly. Now, I have some interesting thoughts. He posted this on his Facebook. Well, they're interesting to me. And it's gone. Okay? I checked his Facebook page. It's gone. Obviously, he is being watched in connection with this, and more than likely, so will I after the show hits YouTube. So, is Coombs cashing in on the Moore ballyhoo? Who knows at this point, but it's worth watching just for the entertainment value and nothing else, if nothing else. I, of course, have a screen capture of the actual post, and it's right here on the screen right now. This was posted, apparently, let me see, Monday, August 6th at 9:46 p.m. I got the timing wrong a little bit. I apologize for that. Okay, everyone, you've been warned of what's to come. Extremely close to 104-hour tsunami warning. I strongly advise you, if you live on the east coast of NSW and west coast of the United States, have evacuation stuff, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so there you go. That is your actual proof that he did post that on Facebook, and it is now gone. So, there you go. That's that particular story, and I have found that to be extremely interesting when you meld it all together with the John Moore information that he still stands by it. Okay, he still says his sources were telling him the truth. Around August 20th. Remember, this Coombs guy, 104 hours. And he's not started that 104-hour countdown. How much you want to bet his 104-hour countdown is going to end real close to the 20th of August. So you can take that at face value. Take it for whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me. I am only putting it out there for informational purposes. Now, there's something that I told you about before. You guys all think that I'm joking. I'm having fun. I'm screwing around here. Just sitting here in our studio, yucking it up with my little fire truck and nutcracker behind me. Just having fun, screwing around, and I'm not. I'm serious about this stuff, man. Wait till you see this next story. You're going to love this one. Remember how I tell you the beginning of every show, what you should do when you go outside. And it's serious business, because now we actually have proof that this is serious business. And it's quite upsetting to me. And when I say, when you go outside, make sure you wear a hat and your sunglasses, because it screws the facial recognition software. I'm not joking. I, of course, prefer my own version of the hat right here. Now, you may think that's a joke, but it's not. I'm serious. Let's look at the next story. The FBI and some states are putting in a nifty facial recognition software system. To read that particular story, we have to go someplace that I don't know how to tell you, or whether or not you've actually been there before, but it's actually, and nobody that I know knows about this. I haven't advertised it, but I wrote about this particular story on the 6th of August. It is, in fact, my blog right here. Journey into the Pit of Truth. Facial recognition software, what did I tell you? It's time for one of the most excellent... I wrote this so I can actually read it. This is great. I never actually read one of my own stories before. It's pretty cool. Time for the most excellent of topics on a brave new world, facial recognition. Note to self, now would be a great time for that solar flare that knocks us back to the Stone Age. Every night on my show, Surrounded by Idiots, the show that you're watching right now, I might add, I always tell the audience to wear their sunglasses and a ball cap. It screws with the facial recognition software, is what I say. And now I give you, courtesy of the Electronic Frontier Foundation, our latest nail in the coffin of our lives. And it's taking place right here in Michigan and other states, where, I might add, we broadcast from. Of course, next time some asshat tells me how great our current dear leader, Rick the Pussy Snyder, is such a great governor, I suspect the top of my skull will fly right off my head. Poof, gone. But his violation of the Citizens' Trust is just another episode in the Michigan League of Fed Up Citizens. I am the founder of the Michigan League of Fed Up Citizens. We came up with it in 2006. Now, here is an update to this particular story. While writing this article, I was looking for some information that I saw a few days ago regarding the belief that if you are not on Facebook, you are considered suspicious, and here is that story from the Mail Online. Is not joining Facebook a sign you're a psychopath? Some employers and psychologists say staying away from social media is suspicious. And this is from the DailyMail.com. Facebook has become such a pervasive force in modern society that increasing numbers of employers and even some psychologists believe people who aren't on social networking sites are suspicious. German magazine Der Spiegel go figure. The Krauts had come up with something like this. The German magazine Der Tagesspiegel went so far as to point out that accused theater shooter James Holmes and Norwegian mass murderer Anders Behring Breivik have common ground in their lack of Facebook profiles. On a more tangible level, Forbes.com reports that human resources departments across the country are becoming more wary of young job applicants that don't use the site. So let's go back over here to my blog. The address, by the way, is USSA Michigan. USSA Michigan, as in the United Socialist States, Michigan. USSA Michigan. Anyways, read the latest gem in a long line of crown jewels of comradeship here in the USSA. Here we go. This is from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Recently released documents show that the FBI has been working since late 2011. Late 2011? They've been doing this shit for over a year. Michigan, Hawaii, Maryland, and possibly Oregon to ramp up the next generation identification facial recognition software. And when the program is fully deployed in 2014, the FBI expects its facial recognition database will contain at least 12 million searchable frontal photos. The documents, which the National Day Laborer Organizing Network, NDLON, obtained from a recent meeting of the FBI's Criminal Justice Information Service, the CJIS Advisory Policy Board, shed new light on the FBI plans for NGI, the Bureau's massive biometrics database that combines fingerprints, iris scans, palm prints, facial recognition, and extensive biographical data collected on over 100 million Americans. The advisory board shows that the FBI's database of facial images will provide search results automatically. Now, one would think, okay, it's a good way to thwart crime. However, it gets better. Hold on to your hats. Prepare to get your panties in a twist, because this story is going downhill in a big hurry. Remember what I told you about Facebook, and you might be suspected to be a psychopath, or something's wrong with you if you're not on Facebook. Here's the next gem in this sordid tale. Now comes the great part in all this ass-hattery. Note what is written below that is so nice, it needs to be repeated twice. The FBI wants to be able to search and identify people in photos of crowds and in pictures posted on social media sites, even if the people in those photos have not been arrested or even suspected of a crime. So let me get this straight. A Middle Eastern guy goes to fly in an airplane, and we're not supposed to profile him. But the damn FBI is going to take a picture of my ass walking down the street or at the mall or someplace, and then compare my photograph to other photographs of me and find out my biographical information, even though, and I quote, haven't been arrested or even suspected of a crime. That, ladies and gentlemen, is pure, absolute skullduggery. Socialism, fascism, communism, and ass-hattery all rolled up into one nice, tight ball. Let's go on to our last story for the evening, which comes from our good friend, Clif High. Clif was our first guest on the show, the first guest we ever had. He's been on a few times since then. His first appearance on the show, he laid a few bombshells, just like that, all over the place, just laying bombshells, willy-nilly, all over the show. The repercussions of which are still echoing in the internets today. At any rate, if anybody knows Clif, or Clif happens to watch this, hi Clif, how you doing? Hope everything's going okay out there where you live. Let's take a look at the latest ass-hattery that Clif has been subjected to. Remember, Clif High wrote this piece. And hold on a minute, let me get down to his disclaimer, because I love his disclaimer, so I'm going to read it first. August 6, 2012, copyright, all rights reserved by Clif High, no copying without attribution. And as I point out, no one would be courting folly, claiming words as the above. In times such as these, thinking is its own punishment, as the fascistas will demonstrate to us all. So let's go back up to the article right here, and it is entitled Das Paperan Bit. It happened to me today. This is Clif High This is written on August 6th. It happened to me today. I ran smack into the fascistic wall being built around the USA, formerly known as the land of the free. While all of the patriotic rhetoric of my youth is suspect, I had not anticipated ever running into the dreaded papers check that the old Nazi movies begins with the phrase, Das Pepperanbeck. Of course, they do say please, but it is a command nonetheless. Hand over your papers. In this instance, it was a driver's license that was demanded, but the sense is the same. Das Pepperanbeck. Get used to it. For remaining months that the government has above ground, at least here in the former land of the free-range, deluded patriot, these screws are tightening down all over. Government is force. But, and this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is where Clif High and I match up perfectly on our opinions. Government is force, but they can never actually afford to use force against more than a few citizens at a time without risking the Anaheim response in which local residents battle police over brutal tactics being applied en masse, otherwise known as rebellion, or even worse, revolution. You see, the government, has to be sneaky about their use of force, usually targeting people that they make into object lessons in order to coerce the rest of us into staying under control. And if you pay attention to the news stories, to the reports, what happens to people, you will see all of these are an example. And I could go on and on about this, but I want to end the show because I want to eat dinner, so I'm going to go ahead and finish Clif's expose. But that is breaking down. Okay, well, let me read the last. You see, the government, has to be sneaky about their use of force, usually targeting people that they make into object lessons in order to coerce the rest of us into staying under control. But that is breaking down, probably due to television and the baby boom generation and beyond being desensitized to threats as a result of warped brains. But the cause is actually not pertinent. Government is scared. The systems of control are breaking down, so the natural response of the control freak is to try to grasp harder than ever as they feel the control leaking from their fingers, which inevitably leads to Das Pepperanbeck. So there I was, innocently minding my own business when the demand came. First, I could not believe it. Here in America, demands for identity papers. Thurston County, State of Washington, Pacific Northwest, USA, commissioners demand, came the response. My own county commissioners? Now they are fascists. It was simply inconceivable. While I had, of course, prepared myself for the inevitable intrusion of federal fascism into my life, these remaining 8 months, it had never, in my wildest imaginings, occurred to me that it would be in my own county commissioners who would sell my body to FEMA for harvest. That's a nice sentence. I like that, Clif. But that is where we are heading, no doubt. It has to do with the level of oppression that the government has to use in order to maintain control. You see, the more desperate and dangerous they get, the more that the control freak becomes obsessed with minutia and triviality. As a military brat from the American zone of occupation in southern Germany in the 1960s, I had occasion to reside in an apartment building that also housed an aged SS colonel. We eventually got to talking over time, and one thing he said has always struck with me. Now remember, Clif is above all else a linguist, a critical thinker, and you need to pay attention to the rest of this piece. There's a reason I put it at the end of the video, because hopefully it'll get less attention, because nothing good can come from this broadcast, let me assure you. His response was unexpected in that he told me he joined the SS to save his life and that of his wife. "You see," he said, "we have always planned to get out of Hitler's vision, but we left it too late." He went on to say that one day it dawned on him just how late it was when he went to buy postage coupons, that would be stamps, only to find he had to sign his name on a government form to send a letter outside the country. It was then that he decided to join the Nazi apparatus as a safety measure, his thinking being that he and his wife would then be part of them rather than against them. "Und so Kinder," he said to me, "when you see that they want your papers to mail a letter, it is too late to get out." Today I had the same shocking insight when they demanded my papers to dump my trash at the local landfill. I shit you not. Some nutter fascist, Thurston County Commissioner, acting for Agenda 21 at the local level here in Washington State, has decided that before citizens can throw away their trash or recycling, they must present their papers. So I had on the spot early on a Monday morning after a terrible weekend with no sleep to decide how to respond. The way my brain saw it at the time, there were three basic options. I could comply. No, that did not feel right. Or I could fight it, which of course meant not dumping the trash, and probably would lead me being involved with politics, trying to defeat the retarded politician county commissioner, dumb enough to put his name to this papers to dump trash policy. And could you imagine, I'm just picturing this now, could you imagine Clif High running for county commissioner, running linguistic circles around these clowns? Oh, God. Man, they wouldn't use the heart attack gun on Cliff then. They'd use the heart attack sniper rifle. At any rate, and also given the touchy state of the militarized police, or option three is what I chose: scam the system. It gets even better. Listen to this. Actually, I was pretty proud of my poor brain for coming up with it. What I did was to claim federal protected class status. Sorry, I am an illegal. I have no driver's license. The idea was to have one part of the system now dealing with another part of it. Okay, said the landfill employee, but I have to fill in something to let your truck in here to get by. So what is your name? Barack Rodriguez. He did not bat an eye and typed it in. Address, he asked. Don't got one. I'm homeless. Okay, fine. And passed my truck on through. Today's drive to the landfill changed everything about the USA for me. Well, Cliff, welcome to my world, because that crap changed here in Michigan years and years ago. Oh, man. Folks, that's it for tonight. Barack Rodriguez. I gotta remember that. I gotta remember that. That's funny. That's funny as anything. Incidentally, we also have to show IDs here in Washtenaw County simply because the landfill does not, the recycling place anyways, they don't allow non-county, Washtenaw County residents to bring their recycling in. Otherwise, they'd be inundated because there aren't that many recycling facilities of this size and caliber in the state of Michigan. There'd be cars literally lined up down Ellsworth Road in Pittsfield Township getting into this damn place if they didn't make sure that Washtenaw County residents only can get in there. So, anyways, folks, that's it for tonight's show. I certainly hope you didn't enjoy it. And if you're anything like me, well, you need to get some professional help. And now I'm going to go and start looking out for the heart attack gun coming my way. Maybe I'll have one of those tragic one-car accidents in the garage while I'm sleeping. At any rate, my name's Bill Zam. Thanks for showing up. We'll see you later. This will be up on YouTube in just a few minutes. Bye-bye.